Well, it all comes down to this. Sixers and Raptors first round of the playoffs. Today, I will provide a full breakdown of this matchup, talk about some of the keys to winning the series, and ultimately give my final series prediction. Let's go. Perfect. What is going on, everybody? RB here. Welcome on into Philly Take with RB. You know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss any of the content. We'll be live for every game during the series, and I'll be covering you all the way up throughout the week until the weekend and the series starts, man. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I dropped a video yesterday with my early thoughts and preliminary things to look out for, different matchup things. If you have not watched that video, definitely do that before tuning into this one. And I was going to wait to push this back later this week, but honestly, I'm so freaking pumped. I'm so excited. The energy is going to be insane, and I'm psyched, man. We have Sixers and Raptors first round, and honestly, I think it's going to be the best first round series in the entire NBA. Can't wait to break it down, man. We need to hop right into it. So I want to start off with some background insight information, things you definitely want to keep in mind. In my personal opinion, I think this is a series of size and star talent going up against athleticism, speed, and more of a balance, right? A better foundation and depth within the Toronto Raptors. I think both of these teams are respectable. And as much as I may hate the Raptors, like I said yesterday, I got to give them credit, man. They have come out of nowhere this season, and they're going to be a really tough first round opponent, and I definitely think there's not bad blood, but there, every time these teams play each other, there's a little more at stake, man. It's going to be a hectic series. Both teams fall right in the middle of the pack as it relates to offensive and defensive efficiency and rating, so they're very similar in that aspect. Also, both teams seem to be at the bottom of the league when it comes to pace. Looking at some of the stats, there definitely are some similarities, but definitely some distinct differences, and I think a few couple things are going to really sway this series. It depends how they play out, man. We'll talk about the Sixers first. A couple advantages to keep in mind in addition to what I said yesterday. The Sixers have the best player in the league by far. No disrespect to Siakam, Van Vliet. Joel Embiid is levels beyond these cats, man. Joel Embiid has had a masterpiece of a year. He's just absolutely sensational. And, after going for 28-10 last year in the playoffs, tearing his meniscus, having a teammate quit on him, probably getting snubbed again for the MVP now and the All-NBA team honors, I think Joel's going to come out and even crank it up to another level. He needs to go off in this series. I believe he will. The Sixers have the best player by far, and I think he is going to dominate. Also, what makes me feel good is that the Sixers have recorded their highest effective field goal percentage on assist against the Raptors this year. They've done it better than against any other team, and the Sixers seem to move the ball well. They seem to get in a good rhythm, and they need guys to knock down shots, and how are we going to do that? We need to stay on our toes and move the ball. Now, on the other side, a couple things really do fear me about the Toronto Raptors in addition to the coach. The Raptors are second in the league in offensive rebounding, second to the Memphis Grizzlies, who are a really good team, and the Raptors are hounds, man. They're going to bring that energy. They're going to be all over us. The Sixers have had games this year where the second chance points are just terrible, and the Raptors, if they do that, they're going to have a really good advantage in this series. The Sixers need to stay on top of it. They can't get lazy. They better be locked in and ready to go and attacking, on a cylinder, man. They need to go out and show that energy, even on second, third chance attempts. They need to get it done, man. And the Sixers, on the other hand, are actually at the bottom. I think they're at around 32%. They're a terrible offensive rebounding team. That's also why a guy like Paul Reed might be helpful in this series, right? He shows that athleticism and hunger, similar to some of the Raptors players. Sixers need to stay on top of it. Also, the Raptors lead the league in turnover differential. This is going to be huge. It might be the biggest point of the series, man. The Raptors, by far, lead the turnover margin. They average 3.4 less turnovers per game than their opponents, and the Sixers, the last time we played, had 17 turnovers against this team. The Toronto Raptors are going to look to try to pry the ball away. They're going to try to get aggressive. I would expect a lot of jawing in this series, a lot of back and forth. The Sixers cannot play into that style, man. The Sixers cannot have these games with 18 turnovers. It is not going to go good. We will lose those games. But those are just my advantages and disadvantages on both sides. And the Sixers are 1-3 against the Raptors this year. I know yesterday I said there was one game where everybody was healthy. Actually, no games this year where everybody was healthy. The closest was the third matchup where the Raptors beat us 93-88. Only Van Vliet was missing. Sixers have had some troubles against this team, and I think it's going to be tough. Embiid, that game had, he went 6 for 20, had 21 points. Harden went 5 for 12, but there were a couple games where Embiid went for 36, 31 this year. So I think the star talent really has to dominate and step up. And we need to stop some of these Raptors scores, man. They're deep, and they're going to come at us. So now I want to get into my main keys, my 3 things for the Sixers to win this series that will really echo a lot off of what I just said. Number 1, the star talent takeover. The Sixers need Joel Embiid and James Harden to show up every game at least 80% of the time. I know Embiid is going to, and I know he's going to dominate, but what will James Harden do? I'm telling you right now, James Harden is the X factor of this series. Couple weeks of rest, post-trade during the All-Star break. He looked really good coming out of the gate for the first 5 to 7 games, and ever since then, he has gone downhill. Now he has a week of rest. Will James Harden be ready to go? He needs to not only facilitate, he needs to play defense and attack. The Sixers need a star talent takeover. That's how you beat these guys. In the playoffs, in the NBA, your star talent steps up in the playoffs, comes up in the big-time moments, something Harden has been known not to do. So he needs to come up and play big, man, and I can't wait to see. They got to get aggressive early. They need to get into their rhythm early. They need to run heavy pick and roll. I say it every single game. They need that heavy 2-man game, and you can't resort to foul baiting. Sure, you want to see Embiid and Harden get to the line, but these refs are not going to call that consistently. You got to score. Pure will, pure muscle, pure strength. You got to get down, and Embiid better not be on the top of the perimeter to begin the game. You got to get aggressive, and you have to make it uncomfortable for the Raptors, and we cannot resort to what I call isolation island basketball, especially in crunch time in the fourth quarter. Cannot happen. You're going to need some of these spark plugs, Maxis, Tobiases, even guys maybe like Shake Milton. I don't know if he's going to put Furk in. I don't know what's going to happen, especially with Thibault being out a couple games. You're going to need those kind of guys to step up. Niang's been in a bit of a slump. I expect him to come out and hit some shots, but most importantly, Harden and Embiid must show up. If they do that, they have a really good chance to win this series. If Harden looks how he has been, we're probably going to lose, just being quite honest with you. The second thing the Sixers need to do is control the pace, the tempo, and they cannot play into what the Raptors will try to do. The Raptors trap, no pun intended. The Sixers need to trust their teammates. I talked about the effective field goal percentage. They need to get everybody involved. You can't have Maxey sitting in the corner. You have to have a couple games where Maxey goes for 20. You have to have maybe a game where Tobias goes for 23. You can't leave these guys in corner duty. They need to get everybody involved. Another X factor, in addition to Thibault and James Harden, could be Danny Green. He knows some of the tendencies of the Toronto Raptors. He knows, some of their guys' capabilities. I mean, he won a championship with them. You need to get everybody involved, and guys need to knock down shots. The Raptors have a lot of these spark plug type of guys, right? Achua's and Chris Boucher's, obviously Anunoby and, Siakam and Van Vliet will probably dominate. But they have a lot of athleticism. The Sixers aren't going to have Thibault a couple of these games. And honestly, that could sway the series as well. But they're going to need guys like Shake Milton to step up. You're going to need a guy off the bench. Hopefully it's Paul Reed and not DeAndre Jordan. I don't know what's going to happen. Even Niang needs to maybe have a game where he goes for 15. Everybody needs to be in sync, have that chemistry. The Raptors are going to swarm us, man. They're going to bring doubles, triples. That's what Nick Nurse does. 100% respect for him as a coach. Joel Embiid has struggled with this before, but I think he's matured and he's different now, and he needs to be able to pass out of that double team, that triple team. And Nick Nurse is just going to say, anybody else on the team beat me. He's going to swarm Harden. He's going to swarm Embiid. This is where some of these other guys need to step up, and it needs to be a collective team effort. It really does, and you need to stay multidimensional. You cannot get, for 5 minutes in a game where it's only running through Joel or only James Harden. You have to keep everybody on their toes, and you got to be able to score from multiple levels, man. And the Sixers need to respond to adversity. I know the Raptors are going to come out like the Hawks did last year in Game 1 and try to punch it in the mouth. And I said yesterday, the Sixers cannot lose Game 1. You cannot do that just from a mental standpoint. You need to come out, and if they hit us, we got to hit them back harder. and stay on it, and you just got to keep your foot on the gas pedal, man. And the last key for me is quite simple. Doc Rivers needs to not get embarrassed. I said yesterday he's going to get severely outclassed and outcoached. He needs to not get embarrassed. Number one, you got to figure out what's going to happen with the backup center. Will it be Paul Reed? You got to figure that out. Last year, we saw 10-man rotations. We saw an all-bench lineup in the playoffs. That can't happen or we will lose this series. Doc, your job is on the line. You have to have a feel of the game. You have to make these in-game adjustments and really make decisions on the fly. And this is what I'm most scared about. Doc could blow this series for us, and I'm not feeling good about it. And even if these guys, like I said before, revert to ISO ball in the fourth quarter, that's on your plate to correct that. As the coach, you need to sit down and you need to get guys multiple involved. Hopefully Harden has that lift on his jump shot and can, get his game going. Hopefully Embiid is going to feast like I think he's going to. But Doc, if not, you need to make sure these other guys stay involved and are ready for their opportunity. And like I said, if a Furkan or a Shake or whoever comes in and they're not hitting 0 for 3, 0 for 4, you got to yank them. We have times where Doc Rivers just sits on the bench with a blank face and a couple minutes go by and we lose a 10-point lead. No blown leads. 2 of them last year in the playoff series against the Hawks. That was the entire series. You cannot do that. Get your arrogance and your stubbornness out of the way. Answer the dang questions and do the right things, and just do not get embarrassed in this series. So it all comes down to this. I've talked about both different ways, angles, why I could lean either way. I can't believe I'm going to do it, man. I can't believe I'm going to do it. I am actually going to pick the Sixers to win in 7 games. Toronto thought they had me for a second, man. The Raptors fans, they were getting happy. They thought they had me for a second. Nah, let me tell you why. It's as simple as this, man. Joel Embiid is the best freaking player in this league. He is the best this season, man. He deserves the MVP, and I will be damned if the best talent I've seen in a long time comes out here and doesn't make it past the first round with everything on the line, with how things have gone. Joel Embiid is going to absolutely crank it up to another level this series. I'm telling you, this could be a coin toss. It could be back and forth. I agree with that 100%. But Game 7 in front of the home fans, even though the Sixers have struggled at home, I expect Joel Embiid to put on a masterclass of a performance. 42 he's going to have. And yes, it's going in 7 at the Wells Fargo. The Sixers and Joel Embiid will avenge their demons. They will take down the Raptors in a historic series, man, a really tight one. But Joel Embiid will not let this team lose. In the first round, they have the best player in the series by far, and he will get it done. A lot of things to weigh here, man. It's going to be a really good series. But Doc, your job's on the line, and Joel Embiid, man, this is part of your legacy, man. You need to get it done. I believe he will. I got trust in my guy, man. Sixers in 7. Those are my thoughts. I want to hear from all you. I'm going to read all your predictions. Leave them down in the comment section. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And like always, I will catch you on the next one, man. Peace.
Perfect.